Before we begin, a quick favor. If you've been enjoying the podcast, would you consider leaving a review? It really helps others find this space and join us on their own healing journey. If you haven't already, you can get your free IFS meditations and the self-led pause starter kit at exploreifs.com. Welcome back to IFS Meditations and Insights. I'm Tim Fortescue, your guide on this journey toward wholeness through the lens of internal family systems. Together, we're creating a sacred space to explore, accept, and love all parts of ourselves. As we do this work, we open ourselves to experiencing divine love and living more authentically. Let's begin. So, have you ever tried to check in with yourself and just nothing's there? You go inside and it's blank, foggy, far away, like there's just not much happening. Maybe you've had that experience in meditation or in coaching or therapy, or just in everyday life where you think, I should be feeling something right now. And you're not. A lot of people assume that if they can't feel much, they're doing something wrong. Maybe they think, I'm too shut down, or I'm not good at this, or I must not be very connected to myself. But in IFS, we can hold that much more gently, and I'm so glad we do because I'm right there with you. I get numb. I don't feel anything sometimes. But in IFS, we see numbness not as absence, but as the work of a protector. Distance is a form of protection. The fog, the blankness, the shutdown, those are strategies that parts use to help you. The very thing that feels frustrating is actually something in you working very hard to help you get through life. That might be hard to believe at first, because numbness can feel like disconnection. And in some ways it is, but it's a protective disconnection. Something in you learned that feeling too much was overwhelming or dangerous or lonely or impossible to carry. So another part stepped in and said, let me turn the volume down. Let me make this more manageable. Let me help you keep going. And over time, that can become such a familiar inner pattern that we barely notice it's happening. We just call it tired, or flat, or blah, or distant, or unmotivated, or stuck. And again, I want to say this clearly. That makes sense. Nothing has gone wrong inside you. Your parts are working hard to help you. If some part of you has learned to create distance, there is a good reason. That doesn't mean you have to stay there forever, but it does mean we don't begin by attacking the numbness. We don't begin by demanding more feeling. We don't begin by forcing tears. We don't begin by trying to break through. We begin with curiosity. We begin with noticing. Something in me goes quiet here. Something in me pulls back. Something in me doesn't want to feel this right now. And that shift matters, because when you stop treating numbness like an enemy, you make room for relationship. And in IFS and parts work, relationship changes things. Maybe not instantly, maybe not dramatically, but steadily. You might begin to sense that the numbness is not random. It may show up around conflict, or grief, or shame, or or disappointment or loneliness, or even around goodness, tenderness, and rest. Sometimes people feel numb, not only around pain, sometimes they feel numb around being cared for, around slowing down, around being seen, because those things can feel vulnerable too. So if that has been your experience, maybe the invitation today is very simple. What if the numbness is not a failure? What if it's a protector? What if something in you has been faithfully reducing intensity because it didn't know what else would keep you safe? And what if, instead of pushing past it, you slowed down, even just enough to let it know, I see you. Of course you're here. You don't need to change who you are. You've been carrying a hard job. You don't have to do that all by yourself anymore. I'm here with you. That kind of inner posture can be deeply healing because many protectors do not soften when we pressure them. Often they don't. They soften when they sense they are finally being understood. And I want to name something that I think is important. These dissociative parts, the ones that create fog and distance, they may not respond the first time you turn toward them. They may need to know you'll come back before they trust you. That's okay. It's not failure. That's their pace. So if you feel blank inside, or far away from yourself, or like your feelings live behind a wall, I just want you to hear this. You are not disqualified from inner work. You're not bad at this. You're not too defended. You may simply need a gentler pace, a slower approach, a way of turning inward that does not demand intensity, just presence, just companionship, just enough curiosity to stay nearby. A drop of self is enough. A drop of self might be just a little curiosity, or a moment of calm, or the thought, I wonder why this part is here. That's enough. So be gentle with those parts that may make you go numb. They're here for good reason. And if this stirred up something for you, you might just do this simple reflection and keep it simple. And ask yourself, where do I go numb or distant? And what changes when I meet that with curiosity instead of pressure? Thanks for your courage in showing up here. That wraps up another episode of IFS Meditations and Insights. If today's episode was meaningful to you, please follow, subscribe, and share with someone who might need it. A positive review helps people find this healing work, and don't forget you can get your free IFS Meditations and the Self-Led Pause Starter Kit at exploreifs.com. And until our next session, be gentle with yourself. I'll try to do the same because we're beloved human beings.